Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of the internet, happy Tuesday. Good morning to you. Coach Kyle Evans coming at you on the ones and twos, guys. Welcome to the G.R.O.W Show, our daily checkup from the neck up. Man, what a good morning so far, guys. We got up, we got worked out, we've done a couple coaching calls already. We are in the pocket this morning. Caffeine is rolling. I trust that you are having the same kind of wonderful morning that I am. And we are going to continue on our talk this week, man, our foundational principles of grace versus grit versus grace, what that looks like for each and every one of us. Yesterday, we really kind of identified what they mean and just an introduction to it. Today, we're going to dive solely in to the danger of too much grace. The danger of too much grace. Man, that is a word that we love. That is a word that we misuse. That is a word that we give ourselves too much of. And I am scared about the corner that we may be painting ourselves into. Yesterday, we talked about the battle, right? The battle of grit and grace, when to give one, when to give the other, what the dance looks like. Today, let's zoom in to that danger of too much grace. This is a very nuanced topic. And so it's easy for people to formulate an opinion one way or another, or check out when some things are said about grace or grit. So I want to lay down this definition. Grace is necessary. Grace is beautiful. Grace is wonderful. Grace is powerful when earned. When earned. But unearned grace, that equals excuses. That easy voice in your brain and that podcast in your head saying, it's fine, you've done enough, you're okay. Blaming other things, the market, the environment, your background, your zip code, your ethnicity, your religion, your gender, bad people, like whatever it is, we all have them. We all have the excuses, and we give ourselves too much grace. There's a difference between giving yourself too much grace and saying something like, hey, you've done enough, you can do better tomorrow, and saying something like, hopeful, hey, tomorrow's another day. I don't know if I'm explaining that right. Hope and grace are different, or hope and too much grace are different. Giving too much grace is letting yourself off the hook, but still saying, hey, tomorrow's another day for me to do better. That's hope. There's a difference there. I trust you guys are getting that. The problem is when we stack too many grace days back to back to back to back, that begins a habit of not finishing. That begins a habit of not giving everything you got. That begins a habit of consistency the wrong way. Doing that too much builds a life of regret, builds a year of regret. Grace is sacred. But when it's abused, it becomes the silent assassin of our goals. Grace that costs you nothing is cheap grace. It's that trap. It's forgiveness without transformation. It's absolution without change. Like, hey, diet starts Monday. How many times you said that? Diet starts Monday, guys. Diet starts Monday. Giving myself grace this weekend. Diet starts Monday. But every Friday, you say, it's okay, I'll reset. That's not grace. That's avoidance. That's not grace. That's being non-committed to change. Entrepreneurs, business people, spouses who lower your standards after missing commitments, that ain't grace. That's cheap grace. Next year's my year. What about today? What about the next hour? What about the next minute? Why do we have to kick off into the distance some amazing reset. Oh, it's okay, buddy. You'll get it better next time. Will you? Will you? Will you do the things? Will you make the change in your internal representation of who you are to do better next time? That's the difference between earned grace and cheap grace. Hey, guys, it is okay to fail. It is okay to fail. It is okay to mess up. It is okay to take a day off. It is okay. As long as it's earned, as long as you're giving yourself grace and you're still going and you are aligned in your spirit and your heart, and you know that you're doing the things that you're supposed to do and you're keeping the promises to yourself, that is okay. But not having the mental commitment, fortitude of change, of commitment, that's where it cheapens. Again, forgiveness without change, mercy without repentance. Dietrich Bonhoeffer talks about that idea of cheap grace. Are you giving yourself cheap grace? More often than not, I think we're all giving ourselves cheap grace, and we're not giving ourselves the actual earned grace. Grace without transformation, it's just permission for mediocrity. Hear me when I say this. In every area of your life, your health, your finances, your personal relationships. Come on, somebody. Grace without transformation, grace without a commitment of change, grace without taking actions to fix it is just permission for mediocrity. I love you enough to have this conversation with you. Baumeister talks about ego depletion around when we're talking about grace and cheap grace and the psychology of excuses. Ego depletion. Every time we negotiate with ourselves, our willpower weakens. Every time that we have to work that muscle of willpower, of staying true to something, of following our commitments, there is a cost associated with it each day. We are a finite person. Every day we have a finite ability of willpower. Are you making sure, if you struggle with this, if you struggle with excuses or commitments, are you making sure that you are setting yourself up in the right environment for success? I was having this conversation on a coaching call the other day around excuses. I am a fluffy individual. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm thick like cold peanut butter. I'm a stress eater. I know it. I know it is a part of me. I know it is something that never goes away. That's there. Man, you give me a tough day and it just makes me feel better to eat something gross and terrible and comfort. Like, that's my thing. That's my Achilles heel. But I know that the more stressful the day, the more apt I am to cheat, the more apt I am to give in, because it's depleting throughout the day, that willpower. So what do? I set myself up with things that I can grab or go to, or what's the word? Other options, healthier options that will work in a pinch, because I know I'm going to reach for comfort. So let me go reach for comfort in something that doesn't hurt me. Understanding that you're a finite resource, understanding that your willpower is not on will call and an infinite supply, and putting up guardrails and barriers, accountability, things and easy changes that are healthy. That's how we win. Guys, if you struggle with excuses, you got to understand that habits form through reinforcement, aka repetition. When I say giving yourself earned grace versus cheap grace, this is kind of what I'm talking about. Skipping once isn't the issue. Giving yourself a day to recharge, giving yourself a break now and then, giving yourself a vacation, giving yourself a cheat meal every now and then, that's not the issue. It's the repeated rationalization of saying that it's okay, doing it back to back, right? That actually forms the habit that's hurting you. I need you to stop lying to yourself about how hard you're actually working. I need you to stop lying to yourself about how hard you are actually working in any area of your life. I'm not just talking about business, ladies and gentlemen. I'm talking about your health, I'm talking about your wealth, I'm talking about your key relationships, your children, your friends, your family, your spouse. I want you to stop lying to yourself about how hard you're actually working. Having great relationships takes effort. It takes work. It takes a humbling. It takes lowering your ego. It takes service. I need you to stop lying to yourself about how hard you're actually working. I need you to stop giving yourself cheap grace and only give yourself earned grace. Agents who give themselves grace by not making the calls, not honoring their calendar, not honoring their commitment are the ones right now wondering why their business is not doing well. The unfortunate truth is cheap grace or too much grace, it robs you twice. Once in the moment of the thing you're supposed to do, and again with the regret that follows. I'm not talking at you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm talking with you. Because this happens to me too. When we give ourselves too much grace, it robs us twice. Once for the thing that we committed to, and then for the regret that we feel afterwards. There is not a time, I know in your heart of hearts, that you failed or chose not to stay true to a commitment that you knew was good for you, that you didn't regret it later. You can take that somewhere else. I know it's true. It robs us twice. We have to understand the danger that we may be painting ourselves in. And there's a fine line with grace and accountability. When you give your team, your business, your colleagues too much grace, more often than not, they're going to underperform. Are you holding them able? Parents, if you're always the one that says it's okay when your kids misbehave or they don't do chores, guys, at first it feels compassionate, but in the long term, it builds entitlement. It builds entitlement. Stop giving too much grace. True love, I got your back love. More often than not, it demands grit, not too much grace. We want to give them the earned grace of being a human being. But we can't keep giving cheap grace. Accountability is a form of care. It took me a long time to understand that. And when I did, I run to it. Yeah, I walk. I walk fast. Maybe not run. But accountability is a form of grace. I mean, it's a form of care. God gives grace, but he also sets boundaries. Justice and mercy together. There's the playbook. Grace doesn't mean letting people off the hook. It means helping them back on it. It means helping them, guiding them, caring enough to bring them back in, caring them enough to build them back up, not keep them stagnant, not keep them less than they're capable of. I'm talking to you listening right now. When I say grace doesn't mean letting people off the hook, it means helping them back on the hook. I'm also talking about the grace you're giving yourself. Stop letting yourself off the hook. Help yourself back on it. You fell, you got off course, cool. Get back on the path. Stop with this apathy stuff. Stop with everything's hard. Guys, life's hard. Get a helmet. Who promised you that it was going to be easy? It's not. And that's okay. Because it's so beautiful anyway. We get the opportunity to live this thing. Woe to the person. Woe to the person who never faces the arena, who never looks themselves in the accountability mirror, who never stretches themselves to everything they're capable of, because they will never know their true beauty, their true power, their true ability, their true calling, their true vocation, what their life could actually look like. I believe this stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Earned grace is good. Earned grace is beautiful. Earned grace is a gift. Cheap grace is dangerous. Cheap grace lives to stagnation. Kyle, I'm feeling you today. I got a good foundation. How can I put this into practice? You may be asking. You know the drill at this time. We're going to roll into what can we do about it? There's an easy test you can do. It's called the mirror test. Every time you excuse yourself, I want you to ask this tough question. Would I accept this reason from someone I lead? Would I accept this reason from someone I lead? Would I accept this reason from someone I'm counting on? Ask yourself that question. Look yourself in the mirror and go. The next one, the earn it rule. Don't give grace until effort has been given. I.e., if I work out, I'm giving myself the grace of rest. If I hustle very hard, I need to give myself the grace of recovery. It's never rest. Cool. Let me get more rest. That's destructive. Don't give grace until effort has been given. And I will plus that statement by saying, don't give grace until the effort that you know that you are truly capable of has been given. Because if not, I fear that many of us in this society today are going to have a regretful deathbed. And that scares the crap out of me. We only get one bite at the apple. Are we doing it the right way? Landing this plane, I want you to understand grace is meant to heal. Grace is meant to heal scars. It's not meant to cover laziness. It's not meant for that. Grace is the most powerful force on this earth when it follows grit. But too much grace creates mediocrity, regret, and in one of my biggest beliefs, it breaks self-trust. And broken self-trust, broken self-confidence, broken self-integrity will have you limping through this life when you were meant to run. Leadership of yourself and others requires grit for accountability, not just grace for comfort. Today, ladies and gentlemen, identify one area you've been giving yourself or someone else too much grace. Commit to grit there. Make the call. Do the reps. Have the tough conversation. Grace will be waiting for you after you've shown up. Don't confuse compassion with compromise. Grace should lift you up, not let you off. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is a day. Let's go get it today. I will see you bright and early tomorrow morning. Woo! I'm shot out of a cannon. Let's go.